topics that we usually handle here are beneficial to both lions and non-lions. So we're welcoming both the lions and our guests. Today we'll be equipped with the tools that would help us be great humanitarian leaders. Before I introduce our facilitator for today, may I invite my district governor, Lion Mary Onu, to give an opening address. Thank you.
Good evening, my Lion leaders. Good evening, my GLT and guests. It's interesting and it's always a pleasure to be here. Learning Lounge is somewhere that we have come to enjoy, to learn, and to share ideas. So I'm hoping that tonight will be another one of those nights when we will be sharing ideas and learning about particularly focusing on today's topic. I'd like to thank the speakers pro bono, so we're really delighted. So I look forward to this session, and thank you once again, my GLT, for all you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much, my DG. Our facilitator today, Mr. Ayo Arubo, is a partner and co-founder of Synergy Private Fund LP. He has over 20 years experience in private equity and financial investment advisory. He has astute managing competences and has occupied senior positions in several organizations. His core competencies are in private equity, financial and credit analysis, business management, people management, communication, and problem solving. He is a CFA charter holder and an ex-trustee of the CFA Society of Nigeria. He is married to our Lion Dayo Arubo. Please join me as I welcome Mr. Ayo Arubo to take today's session. My facilitator, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for attending, and hopefully this evening we'll have a subject that I think will be quite engaging, and I hope that is meaningful in the end to everyone. But thank you again to the Lions organization, particularly in Nigeria and this district, for this opportunity to speak with you all. I hope at the end we'll have some interaction. But I would today my task is to speak on this subject, unleashing. I hope everyone can hear me, please.
Yeah.
Okay. Unleashing the leader within, and then mastering personal effectiveness for impactful humanitarian service. And so for me, just looking at this header, there are a number of things that stand out, and those are the things that our conversation this evening will revolve around. The first thing here is the leader. We'll speak about leadership. We'll speak also about personal effectiveness, and I think at the end we'll speak about humanitarian service and how we can all increase our impact in this that we already do. So without taking too much more or any more of your time, I will start. So the first thing I think in that subject that is interesting is, who is the leader really? That's a question that I think is useful for every single one who is here. And I know that we haven't come this far not to have some idea in our mind of who a leader is, because in many respects, all of us, if not most of us, are leaders in some way. And so I won't spend so much time in defining who a leader is. I think that what will be more beneficial is to describe some attributes of a good leader, of leadership. And the hope will be, as I describe these attributes, very many of us will find ourselves with them, and where some we're lacking in some of them, would pick that up and be something to focus on. So the first description I will make for who a leader, and this in no way is exhaustive, but I think these are some of the more important attributes that a leader has, that I think that every single one of us would do well to inculcate into our leadership portfolio. The first thing is leaders lead people. And very many times we are in positions that we think is leadership, but really we can be many things. We can be bosses, we can be managers, we can be parents, we can be a number of things where we mistake it to be leadership, but in no time are we playing a leadership role in those instances. So first, a leader leads people. If you have no followers, then really you're not leading. And you might have people behind you, doesn't necessarily mean they're following you. All right, so that's the first thing. Leaders lead people. And so for every single one of us, either at district level or whatever level of classification we
We're not hearing again.
He's muted. He's muted. He needs to
Okay,
unmute.
sorry. I don't know why I went to mute. Okay. So the first thing I said about leadership is leaders lead people, and for you to be a leader, you must have people following you. The second attribute is leaders exercise influence, all right? And not power, not force, not coercion. And there are many instances where we think that we are leaders, but what we are using is more power, is more coercion, is more force, and not influence. And influence is different from all of these things, because influence, the key difference between influence and power is influence is getting people to do really what you want by themselves. All right, is being able to convince people, to connect with people, to engage with people in a way where they choose to do what you really want them to do, but willingly and voluntarily. But there are many ways to get people to do what you want, not necessarily through influence. And that's why people choose not to use influence most times. So to be a leader, and to be good at it, you have to be influential with your people. And influence means the power to get people to do what you want really, but they are voluntarily choosing to do it. They're not doing it because you have a hammer over their head. They're not doing it because you're threatening them sanction. They're just doing it because they bought into you or whatever it is that you're selling, and they're now willingly choosing to follow. That's the second attribute. The third attribute for good leaders really is good leaders get people to think more highly of themselves, not of the leaders. And very many of us, as you begin to consider your own role and your own positions as well, even though you're a leader, there are situations where you also have people leading you. And you will know that very many people are focused on getting people to think highly of them, but really good leaders are focused on getting the people to think highly of themselves. In that way, all right, there's a belief and conviction that comes and that gets them to do a lot more than they will ordinarily do. So once you see anybody who is focused on getting people to think more highly of himself than them. That's we're feeling in that respect, and very many of us don't realize this. The work of a leader is to get the people to be so connected and so engaged because they believe, because of you, they now have such a belief in themselves that they can now begin to do what they themselves didn't think or believe they could do. That's number 3. Number 4 is leaders define the course, as in they cast a vision. All right, leaders cast a vision. All right, leaders cast a vision. They define the course, and if you find, and visioning can be one of the hardest things because it's like bringing to birth what is not yet. It's like creating a vision for your people as to what we're hoping to achieve or what we're making an attempt at. And so if you are not defining the course, if you are not defining the future, if you are not defining a future for your or a vision for your team or your group or your association, then you are not really the leader. Leaders think forward, leaders think ahead. Leaders are not reactive, they sort of are proactive. And the final thing I'm going to touch on about leaders is leaders produce results. In the end, everything you do has to deliver results. And so you're put in charge of something. Yeah, the whole essence of you exercising influence, of you getting people to think highly of themselves, of you defining a cause, at the end of it, you must back that up by accomplishing results. So these are some of the, in my view, some of the more important and not commonly discussed attributes of a leader. There are many, many other things, but I think these ones are so uncommon, and a lot of people probably will be unfamiliar with these things. But this, I think, strikes at the core of what true meaningful leadership is, and the essence of this, of me touching on this, is to just say, whatever levels we are, there's another level or more levels that we can get to, and by incorporating this into the things that we already do, we can get better. And so in addition to all of those things that I've said about a leader, and a few minutes ago I attributed to this, understand that the first person that you lead is yourself. All right. A leader must understand that the first person you lead with is yourself. And what do I mean? I mean, as a leader, you cannot ask your people to go where you haven't been or where you're not willing to go. All right. You yourself must conquer the weaknesses, the inabilities, the inadequacies of the people that you are trying to change. You yourself must become a master of those, or otherwise you will get in your own way. One of the biggest problems that we have, and I think parenthood is the one that shows this up more than anything else. Because as our children get older, they begin to point to us that we are trying to get them to be people or to do things that we ourselves have not mastered or gotten a handle of. And so a leader must understand that the first person that you lead is yourself. And if you are not in charge, in control of yourself, if you are not a master of yourself, it's pretty difficult to be a master of anyone else. And it's something that I'm sure absolutely everybody here has witnessed or lived under at one point or the other, where somebody is trying to get you to be something that he himself hasn't become. And that's a challenge. So for every single one of us, our leadership will improve significantly the more we master and gain control of ourselves. That's the little that I would speak about leadership today, and maybe at the end when we have a interaction, there might be that there are questions. The second thing in the subject that I think is critical for us to talk about is personal effectiveness. And there are many misconceptions around personal effectiveness, and absolutely everyone who has worked in an organization for any number of years or time has probably gone on a personal effectiveness training at one level or the other. And the first thing that comes to most people's minds when we talk about, can everybody still hear me?
Yes, please, you can
Yes,
hear
we
you.
are
Yes.
hearing you, please. Go on.
Yes, sir. I can hear you, sir.
All right. So the first thing that most people attribute personal effectiveness to, once they hear it, they think time management.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, thank you. People think time management when they hear personal effectiveness, and it's the completely wrong way to approach the subject. Personal effectiveness is more about making the most of what you have to produce the best possible outcomes for yourself. All right. So to be personally effective means to make the most of what you have, that you may produce the best possible outcomes, for yourself, for your organization, for whatever it is that you're pursuing. It is a lot more than time management. All right. As you know, and I will speak to the major difference of that in a bit. The other thing that is a bit confusing, or sometimes we use them interchangeably, even though they mean completely different and opposite things, is effectiveness and efficiency. So a lot of people are trying to be efficient, but they think that they are being effective. And the key difference between the key difference between effectiveness and efficiency is, number one, effectiveness talks about, organizing your life, your work, your relationships, everything that you're doing, organizing it around principles and values. That's effectiveness. All right. Organizing your life, your endeavor, your undertakings around principles and values. All right. Whereas efficiency is just around organizing those things around priorities and goals. All right. Another difference between effectiveness and efficiency that I think is pretty obvious or pretty important is, efficiency tends to deal with things, And effectiveness, very frequently relates to our dealings with humans. All right. And in the work and the life that most of us are living today, especially in this group, our attention and our resources are focused on people. So how can you be efficient without being effective? And I'll tell you, because I said effectiveness is around principles and values. Efficiency doesn't care about that. Efficiency doesn't care about whether or not the results are good for everybody or for one person or evil. Efficiency doesn't care about that. Efficiency is about determining whatever it is. I want to steal money. All right, that's the goal. I can be efficient in doing that. All right. And that efficiency in stealing money will be, how can I steal the most in the shortest possible time without getting caught? All right. So you can be efficient. If you want to be a pickpocket, you can be efficient in that. All right. But effectiveness talks about organizing everything that you do around values and principles. All right. So what's important to you? And whether this is good, is for the common good, is good for people, is as, above self objects. All right, that's the other thing about effectiveness. So when we talk personal effectiveness, we're basically, looking at what you have, how do you make the most of it, so that you can deliver the most impact, whatever areas that you choose to be. What will be the the best possible outcomes for you. And so, in this definition of being personally effective, what are the important things that you must do to increase or improve your personal effectiveness? All right. And as I said to you, I'm not going to go into 9 o'clock, do this, 9:30, do this, call this person by 5, by all those time management things are very basic and not very helpful in terms of being efficient, in terms of being effective. They might be good for your efficiency, but they're not very helpful in terms of being effective. So to be effective, what are some of the things that we need to do? Number one, you need to define what success is for you. All right. And that's something that most people are failing in today. People are jumping into things without having, taking a step back to define what success will be when they achieve it or when they accomplish it. Is what we say, start with the end in mind. All right. And for very many of the things that we do that are successful and they're good, that there's very few of those things that we start without knowing what the end is. For instance, you won't start building a house until you have a plan. All right. Until you see an architectural drawing, until you see something that documents for you. All right. What will it be when the final outcome is produced? And so when you see that success, it's something that you have envisioned. All right. You don't go out of your house. Very many of you on this link are old enough. Very many years ago, 20 years ago, thereabout, the most common offense in Nigeria with police used to be wandering. You're leaving your house, you don't have a destination. All right. And that is not a commonly discussed topic today, but back in the 90s, that was the most common offense. If you get into police trouble, people get picked on the road and parked. It's for wandering. Now, what is wandering? You are setting out, without having defined where your destination is. And anything that you start without having that end in mind, then you get into trouble. And that's the reason why very many of us are running into an effectiveness problem, because we have not defined really what it is that those outcomes are going to be. So that when you start, I tell everybody, if I'm going to the office, when I leave my house, there is a direction I will take. My turnings will be guided by that I'm going to my office. If I'm going to my church from here, that will define the road, the route, this thing that I'm going to take. Because I knew I was going to have this session today, it determined when I left the office, when I had to get home, and when I had to get on this link. So everything that we're successful at, where our success is defined by having defined clearly in our minds what the end outcome will be. And anytime you don't do that, you are just going to be scrambling around. You are not going to achieve the most impact with what you have. So that's the first thing that I notice with most people, especially when it comes to this area of volunteering and humanitarianism and stuff. Most people jump into it without really having an outcome in mind. What is it really that we're trying to do? So for effectiveness, that needs to come into play before any undertaking, anything that you're jumping in. You need to first define, what am I trying to achieve here? And the other thing is your definition of success needs to be comprehensive, needs to be wholesome. All right. Your definition of success needs to be encompassing and embrace every facet of your life. Another, common problem that we see with people is they narrowly define success for them. Somebody wants to get a job. Somebody wants to become MD of his job, or wants to be DG, or wants to be whatever, president, or wants to have a lot of money. Very narrowly defined goals are hardly ever satisfying when you achieve them. All right. So the next thing is define what success is. Then following that is that success and your definition of it. It must be wholesome. It must embrace every facet of your life for it to be comprehensive. That's why you see people who have burnout. Burnout people are people who achieve a great deal of success in one area, but they're lacking in very many other areas. And so that when they get that thing that they thought was the most important thing for them in their life, they find out that it doesn't produce for them the joy or the sense of fulfillment that they thought it would at the start. And so at the minimum, in terms of what your success should look like when you define it, understand that you are a complex human being. A human being is one entity, but you are very complex in terms of your needs, your responsibilities, your goals, your aspirations, your ambitions. So at a minimum, success for you must include the following areas at the minimum. You must define what success is for you as a person. You must have personal success goals. What will success look like? And this is the easiest failure that most people have, especially people who are inclined, as you all are, to humanitarianism, helping other people. The first person to forget is yourself. You think that you would sense fulfillment or get fulfillment by attending to the needs of everybody else, but ignoring your own needs. And very many times when people have done this, they found out that it still comes short. So we tell people that a good life cannot be built around selfishness and focus on yourself. But I tell you too, a good life can be built entirely around satisfying other people and ignoring yourself. So you must have your success, whatever it is you define success as, must include you as a person, must include your career or your business, whatever your endeavor is. Success must include, it must include financial goals. All right. It's one thing to want to help. It's another thing to need help yourself. And so the you must have define success to include finance. You must define success to include your health. All right, because a sick man or a sick woman or a sick person is really very helpful to any other person. So, and very many of the sicknesses or illnesses or diseases that we're suffering today, if you pay attention to our body, what we eat, how we move it, and all of that, very many of them can be avoided. And if you ignore those things and you keep going on, the fact that you're doing good will not excuse you from, suffering a health catastrophe because you've been careless or mindful of it. Your success must include relationships. You're either a husband or a wife or a parent or somebody's child. You are a friend. All of these things. Success for you has to include all of these things because you are an incomplete man, without or a woman even without all of these things. You must have success for you must include what will you do for fun and adventure. And recently, I don't know what it's called. Some of your guys went to Orlando recently is there your annual convention or something? And they went to do a job, but also those activities are planned in such a way so that people will experience new places, different cultures, meet with new people and all of that. So all of those things are important. And finally, significance and contribution. So for you guys, a lot of people think that so long as they're making a contribution to other people and they're living a life of significance in helping other people, they think that if they ignore all of those other areas, that they'll be fulfilled. But we can tell you for sure, for certain, emptiness in all of these other areas, it will not, fill your cup, only by, focusing on your contribution to this world and making this world a better place. So it is important for every single person to understand that for you to be successful, you know what we said? We said personal effectiveness is about making the most of what you have so that you can accomplish your best possible outcomes. All right. And we said, define what success, what will it be, when I achieve it? Because some people become successful, they don't know they have been because they didn't set out with a clearly defined objective in mind. So how do you even know if when you achieve something that you haven't, really defined? All right. So these are some of the areas. There are probably more for you, spirituality and all of that. But all of these, my point is, you are a complete, total human being, and focus on one area and ignoring all of the other areas is likely to result in emptiness at the end of the day. And the risk for you guys particularly is that you pour yourself into helping other people and making the world a better place, but you leave yourself in a really bad place and you are ultimately unable to experience the fulfillment that you truly deserve. All right. So the next thing in our definition of personal effectiveness is using what you have, making the most of what you have to accomplish what your best possible outcomes are. So the next thing to speak to is, what resources do you have? What do you really have? What are the assets that you bring into this thing, into life, at this point, at any point where you are? What are really the assets that you are now going to leverage to create this better world that you are interested in? All right. And a few things. First is, everybody knows that there is no completely useless person that does not come with some resources. Everybody has some assets, something. There's something that everybody has. All right. So everybody has some resources. But it's also true that not all resources are the same. In some countries, money is the most valuable thing because that's really what they need. In other places, they don't have a problem with money. They need time. So at different places and in different times, some people have what some people have might be more valuable than some others. But the truth of it is all of us coming together collectively is what makes the whole better and stronger. So it's important to realize every human being has something to give, but not all resources are the same or equal or valued at the same point. The other thing to say about resources is the more you have seen, all right, the more you have seen, the more you have learned, and the more you have done, then automatically the more resources you are likely to have. And so another person has seen more, right? He's gone to more places, he's experienced more, he's seen more people do something, he's seen more things done, he's seen more failures, he's seen more success. All right. Anybody who has learned, you have learned more, you have gone to school, you have learned from people, you have learned from observation. All right. And then what you have done, your experience, you have done stuff at home, at work, in church, at the mosque, in your whatever level that you have contribution, the more of these things that you have done, the more resources in the course of life that you have developed and that you have. And the truth is, if you continue to grow, so will your resources. So as a person
Sorry, I
continues to
want to leave
grow,
my video. How do I go to the video?
all right, as a person becomes to grow, all right, so their resources also continue to grow. And so the encouragements we're saying in this is, as a human being, you have to focus on developing yourself more so that you can have more to give to others. And so what are the most common resources that every human has, or that people commonly or we're familiar with? One is time. All right. And the truth of it is every single one of us has 24 hours.
Check it very well.
24 hours in a day. All right. Everybody has 24 hours in a day. But not all of that 24 hours is available for all of the stuff that we want to do. And so how is it that some people are able to extract more from their 24 hours than others? All right. And this comes to being effective. So the person who produces more in a 24-hour spell is obviously being more effective than the person who produces less. And so with time, the thing for us to know is with time, all of us have the same thing. And so how is it that some people get more? And that comes to organization, as I said. And the organization in this sense is, what we said about being effective, you organize around your principles and values. And so principles and value equal what is important, all right, as opposed to, priorities, which then gets to urgency and emergency. All right. So a person who is effective with his time, or who has time that he can give or contribute, is that person who is managing to extract more. And the people that we have over time, we have come to learn that the people who get more out of these things are the people who have clearly defined what they're choosing to do, and they are disciplined in allocating their time. So that's 24 hours is a lot of time in a day. Only when you become effective will you realize that. Another resource that everybody has, but in varying degrees, is energy. All right. Because if you are, especially for you guys, anybody who wants to contribute to making the world better and helping people, lifting people out of situations, out of problems, out of difficulties, all right, we need energy. Meetings, going to places, events, and all of this. And not all of us, we usually expect that older people will have less energy than younger people. And that may not necessarily be true in every situation, but generally we expect that. But the more energy somebody has, energy can be something that you bring into your work, into your life, into every club, into every situation. And the more of this that you have, and the more of it that you conserve enough of it that you can devote to helping other people, the better. For skills is another resource. All of these that I'm listing are the things that in becoming effective, you now leverage all of these things to produce more than you are right now, right? So skills is another thing. The trainings that we have done, the education that we have, the things that we have done, the things that we're able to do, all of those things are resources that we have that everybody can bring. Experience, right? What we have seen, what we have done, what we know is possible. That's also valuable. Our experience with any number of things, right? Whether it's money management, whether it's project management, whether it's undertaking projects, whether it's construction, whatever it is, all those experiences that we garner in the course of living, they come to prove very useful, especially when we come together like this in humanitarian endeavors. Our network is another resource, and the older you are, sometimes, not all the time, but the older you are, the more opportunity that you have had to develop relationships and to build networks. And so you can build networks in family, in church, at workplaces, amongst your friends that you grew up with, people you went to school with, people, your neighbors, and all of that. But all that network, I think, is one of the most important things that, organizations such as yours benefit from, right? Because every year when it comes to, we need to raise money for our funds, we need to do things, we need to get approval, authorizations, we need to move things. The stronger our network is, and our network is only as strong as the network of the people who are members, the stronger it is, the easier life will be for the organization, for our firm, for all of us. And of course, I've left perhaps the most important resource for the end, which is money. All right. As someone says, I've never known a situation that more money makes worse. There's literally no situation in life that more money makes worse. So money helps with everything that we need to do. And so the more of this that we have also, the more good that we're able to do. And so for us today, the question we should be asking is, how many of these things do I have, and how can I leverage these things so that I'm producing much more than I am today? And for very many of us, if we are introspective, we will realize that we are under producing or underachieving based on the resource that we today have. Some of us are even not aware. You don't know what resource you have, and you're not mindful. You haven't nurtured it. You haven't sort of, been careful in developing it. So that's I think that's it about resources. And so we finally end at, how do we improve our humanitarian impact? And for every single one of you who is on this in this session, and for others who are not as well, you already have an inclination to this. You are already somebody who is committed to promoting the welfare, the dignity, the well-being of people, especially people who are disadvantaged, people who are needy. It's already something that you are interested in, and that you have contributed and participated, and that you are involved in to some level. So this is not new to you. Our objective and our hope this evening is based on the things that we share. Then each one of us can be a lot more impactful, all right, with in even in this work, and than we have been before now. And so I'm just going to speak to some things that can improve our impact when it comes to the work that we have already committed to doing, which is helping other people, which is lifting other people out of situations, bringing joy to other people's lives, and just making the world a better place. And so the first thing to do, in my view, to improve your impact as a humanitarian, somebody who is involved in humanitarian service and work, the first thing is, as we said before, you need to define what success is for yourself. What are you trying to do? Because there's something that the Lions organization is trying to do, but what will your own role in that be? What are you best at? What are you giving to? Because we're not everything that we're seeking to do connects with everybody. Everybody comes with their own personal mission, their own personal interest, their own personal destiny. So for you, what will success be as an individual? Because collective, it can't deviate from the group's goal, but in some respect, how will you define success? Because you can hide under the accomplishment of the group, whereas you haven't really contributed a significant portion of it. But so for you, what will a successful year be? What contribution will you have made? How will you have participated? Some people in your group or your club will be better at maybe drawing resources from the world, pulling money in. Some people have more networks that can invite people, can get things done. Some people have experience with some of the work that you're doing. Maybe you're doing undertaking, construction work and all of that. There are people who can participate in that. Some people are, you are gifted in finance, you have experience, you have knowledge. Maybe, but the important thing is, as individuals, we all need to define what will success mean for me, in this association, in this group. How will I, at the end of the day, judge myself to have been successful, apart from the club being successful? All right, that's the first thing in improving impact. The second thing that I'll suggest to you to improve impact is you must connect your efforts, whatever it is that you are doing in the humanitarian space. You must connect those efforts to purpose. And when I say purpose is, your life has to be about something. Your life has to be about wanting to do something for some purpose, for something. You must purpose, all right? Because the reason why this is important is many people are doing stuff that they really don't, it is not connected to their purpose. You frequently see people saying to you that I'm doing this work just for money, but really this is not what I know that I'm called to do. All right. And that is possible also with humanitarian work. All right. You must connect your effort, what you are doing, the meetings you are going, the money you are contributing, the people you are recruiting, the projects that you're undertaking. You must connect, all of that must connect to what you consider to be your purpose in life for you to be truly successful and to be fulfilled. And this disconnect is why, because whether fortunately or unfortunately, I tend to, because my wife is a lion, I overhear, I see sometimes some of the struggles and challenges, especially with, motivating people, getting people to do things and all of that. And from afar, I just see that the reason why we're having to motivate you, the reason why we're pushing you, the reason why we're drawing you, the reason why we are speaking to you, rebuking you, encouraging you, a lot of this thing is because there's no connection between what you're doing to what your purpose is. Like I said, you need to define success for yourself, and that success needs to be aligned to your purpose so that everything that you are doing will be connected to that. Once you connect, you link your efforts to purpose, then it becomes a lot easier for you to sacrifice the things that the club requires of you. Otherwise, everything is just mechanical. All right, it just is monotonous. There's no engagement, there's no depth. It's just something that we will do, maybe out of community. Just very many of very many people, because they think that being, helping other people is a good thing, is a nice thing, it's something to be, connected with. It's something that if you put on your CV, people will respect you. It's something that you can put on social media and participate. Sometimes we travel abroad, sometimes we can connect, all of these things. They hear all of these things, they are fascinated by all of these things, but because there is no connection to purpose, then it's a struggle for them to give what it takes to be successful really in this. And that's why, meeting is a struggle, all right? Participation in activity is a struggle, contributing, participating, helping, calling people, recruiting, and all of that is a struggle. And so the one way to heal ourselves and cure ourselves of this struggle sometimes is to say, this thing that I'm doing, this club that I joined, these things that we are doing, how is it connected to my purpose in life? How does achieving success in this thing fulfill me as a person? That's certainly one way that we can improve our impact and our effectiveness as well. Number 3, recognize your constituencies. All right, to be effective, to be successful, even in humanitarian service, you need to recognize, you need to know what your constituencies are. And a lot of people fail to do that. first, you need to understand that you are first a human being. You're a person. You have needs, you have obligations, you have responsibilities, you have something, you as a person. And the greatest failure you will have is to discount yourself while you are trying to satisfy other people. Because remember what we say when you're in the plane, all right? When there's turbulence, what do they say? You pull down the mask, all right? You need to put it on yourself first before you think about other people. So only a safe person, only a healthy person, a well person, whatever it is, the better you are as an individual, the more you can give to the world, to the rest of the world. So failing to recognize yourself as a constituency, as somebody that you know that you have a responsibility to yourself. And if you don't fulfill those responsibilities, you can hardly ever be effective serving other people. So you must recognize yourself as a human being, as a person, and a human being has needs apart from satisfying other people. So recognize that and fulfill that. 2, family. You have a constituency, your family. There's a reason why during the inauguration, the club insists on the spouse and their families showing up and supporting whoever it is that will be is being inaugurated. All right. And then, they secure, understanding or commitment from those guys that they understand that this person for a year or for whatever period it is that she's going to be or he is going to be committed. This will put a lot of pressure on our responsibilities or our role or obligations to this family. And so, we just want you to understand. We need you to tell us that you understand that before we appoint this person, and then to commit that is something that you're willing to do. So failing to recognize that your family is a constituency and understanding that if you fail in that, there is no amount of success that you can get outside that is going to compensate for that. So understanding that you are a person, as a person, separate from anything else, attend to your own needs, attend to the needs of your family. And all of these things are put deliberately ahead before you attend to the needs of others. All right, before you attend to the needs of others. But very many of us, if we have an inclination or an interest in helping other people in humanitarianism, we tend to just jump head on into it and either failing ourselves or failing our families. And in all of those things, if you're successful outside and there's trouble inside, it will still draw from the joy and peace that you should have. And so the fourth thing that I'm going to say is find balance. All right. Everything must be put in balance because, as I said, you have multiple constituencies that require different things, but your resources are limited. You have limited time. You have limited money. You have limited experience. Every of those resources that we've said, they are limited. All right. So, and all of those resources, all of your constituencies will be calling on them. And so the person who is effective is the person who is successful in maintaining some element of balance. Understand that success in one area is unlikely to compensate for emptiness in other areas. So somebody can throw himself completely into becoming successful at work, all right, and rise up to the highest levels and all of that, and find out that, I wasn't taking care of my health. I wasn't having fun. I wasn't experiencing things. I wasn't knowing things. Or even I did all of that work. I spent all of that money. I didn't sort of provide a nest for myself. And so you can achieve success in one area, and then if you leave the other areas on catered for, then you will still sort of experience difficulties and challenges. So balance, putting everything, starting with yourself. You must put yourself in order in a place where you are a truly fulfilled, peaceful human being, enjoying life. All right. And then your family must transmit a lot of that to your family and make sure your family is organized as well. And then you can then, also carry that peace that you already enjoy internally. And then you can carry that into helping other people. But the important thing here is you must find balance. Don't pursue success in one area and neglect the other areas. The number 5 thing I'm going to say in terms of improving your impact and effectiveness is commitment is what we are looking for in humanitarian service, not interest. a lot of people are interested. A lot of your members are from the challenges that I observe my wife, and when these conversations and all of that is going on, I conclude in my mind automatically without even talking to her that, the reason we are having some of these challenges and these issues are a lot of your people are only interested in this group. They're not really committed to it. All right, there's a difference between being there are a lot of things that we're interested in, but the key difference between interest and commitment is what you are willing to sacrifice for it. All right, so for you to improve impact, for you to be effective, what we need is commitment, not interest. So we need more of our members to commit to the goals, commit to the pursuits, commit to the aspirations, commit to the pledges and everything else that you do. And then you give your leaders a lot less to worry about. And the more we are, the more committed we are, the more help we can offer to the world. So my listening to you, anyone who is looking to improve in this area, is to say commitment, not interest, because there are many things we're interested in. But the difference between interest and commitment is the person who is interested is not willing to lift a pin or a finger to change the situation. It would just be nice if the situation changed, but they're not committed to changing it. So we want people who are committed, not just interested. And my final word to you in improving impact is to say to you, the more you are as a person, realize that the more you are as a person, then the more you can give. And so focus on making more of yourself, and then you will have more to give to others, to helping others in pursuit of all of these goals and aspirations. And my final words to you would be all in. All right. Everybody who is on this call and everybody who will speak to subsequently, humanitarian service demands that we are all in. Like I said a few minutes ago, it's not just interest. Be committed to this thing. Not just the razzmatazz of it, not just the nice photo sessions and all of that, or the food eating and all of. No, be committed, be all in. If you have made a pledge, if you have signed up, show up. If you signed up for it, show up for it. All right, and that's going to be useful to us. And I leave you with my final word, which is what you guys are already doing. That a life is not significant except for the impact it has on other people's lives. And this is something that you guys are already doing. And I can only encourage you to keep doing what you're doing and to find ways to do more of it. Thank you very much. I've come to the end of my talk, and I think maybe now we have some minutes to interact. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very
Some
much,
time
sir.
for question and answer.
Okay.
Fellow Lions and guests, I'm sure we would have some questions. You make use of our chat room so that we'll check through there, and our facilitator would keep addressing the questions as they are coming. Mr. Arobo, I'm already seeing some comments. Wow. The first comment from my DG says, "You are underestimating us, sir." Then my PCC says, "We need resources, we need time, we need skills, we need knowledge, network, and money, energy." There's a comment that says, "Excellent and insightful presentation, Mr. Ayo Arobo. Love the way you linked who we are and what we have with what we do. Thank you very much." Okay, somebody says, "Success in one area is not enough to compensate for failures in other areas. So it's better to bring everything on board and balance up. Good lesson. We learned that. Whereby self is placed at the forefront before going ahead to reach out to others. Thanks. So insightful. Thank you, sir. Commitment and not interest is more vital and important to rock the boat. Serious word. Final word, commitment. Thank you. The more you are as a person, is in your commitment and dedication. Oh, the more you are as a person, is it? Your commitment and dedication is all you need to impact others. A life is not significant until it has an impact on others. Deep. Thanks so much, Mr. Ayo, for tonight. It is one of its kind. I'm blessed to be here tonight. Thank you. Commitment supersedes interest in humanitarian service. This is a good one to add to our mindset. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much, sir. Is it possible to develop members' interests into commitment? That's a question for you, sir. Is it possible to develop members' interest into commitment?
Yeah. Well, so it is what essentially it is individual. It is an individual decision. The good thing and the most difficult part of humanitarianism is a lot of it is voluntary. All right, people make the decision by themselves because they see there's something to do. But I think that certainly with education, because many of our people don't understand, they don't know what interest is, what commitment is. So I think that if more people will understand what the differences are, they will come to see that, okay, like I said, when you are interested to the degree that you are not required to lift a pin to change the situation. But when you are committed, you're committed to that situation changing no matter what it takes. And that's every time makes a difference in the results that we accomplish. So I think that the one thing that the group can do is to educate people to understand these things, that if you're coming to this group, you have to go beyond it. Interest is good. Interest is what gets you a leg in, but commitment is what will make tremendous change. But the real effort is every single one of us individually deciding that, what, like I said, if you sign up for the thing, sure, so if you are committed to it, at this point, we all have other things that we can do with our lives. And if this is not important to you, don't do it. But if you say it's important to you, then do something and change the world. The other thing that I would say to DG is I didn't in any way intend to underestimate the group. If I did that in any way, please forgive me.
No, not at all. When you said the 90s, that in the 90s it was wandering. So I said, Mr. Ayo is underestimating our age in this group.
No, I said most people here will be familiar with that. No, I said most people here will be familiar with that. But that the children of these days, wandering is no longer something that the police use again. But then it used to be the number one police crime. Yeah.
Yes, I totally agree. Well done. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. We have some more comments. Very interesting and educative. Thank you, Mr. Ayo. Very insightful presentation. We will surely refocus our commitment. Thank you for an excellent presentation. Can we have this documented? Thank you. Okay, we'll think about that. Very impressive and impactful presentations. Thank you, sir. Okay, while we're going through the comments, please, the attendance form has been shared on the chat room. Please just click on the link and complete attendance. Thank you. So there are more, okay, one more question, sir. Can you enlighten us on how procrastination can be eliminated?
Okay, the first thing to say is not all procrastination is bad. All right. If you procrastinate on doing the wrong thing, that's good procrastination. All right. Not all procrastination is bad. Sometimes, procrastination is an inbuilt mechanism to save us from doing bad stuff, getting into situations and doing bad. So every human being now procrastinates in some way or the other. The point at which procrastination becomes dangerous is the point where you are procrastinating on the important things to you, the things of value. And the person who fails in life is the person who is procrastinating with the most important things and finds time for the urgencies. What we say is, in your life, I think Steve Covey defines 4 quadrants. There is urgent and important, I think, on one bar and something else. For time, there is urgent, there is important, so if you don't deal with the important things at the time when you should deal with them, then they become emergencies, and then you'll be running helter-skelter all the time. And so the thing with how to deal with procrastination is focus on the areas where procrastination is harming you as a human being. Don't try and eliminate procrastination in your life totally, because it's impossible. It's an impossible task. And as I said, some procrastination is good. All right. Some procrastination is good. It's a life-saving mechanism. It's keeping you away from getting into trouble, getting into situations. So you want to identify the areas that procrastination is affecting you badly. Those must be the areas that are important to you. And so in that area, identify those things. And usually what we say to people is get those things out of the way first. All right. This is where your time management becomes important. The thing to do is do the most important things first. As I said, there's a lot of hours in 24 hours. All right. Only when you become effective will you know. If you're not effective, you will find out that there are a lot of time that we're wasting, that we're not doing anything. But when you begin to account for your time and your life, you see that you create a lot more time. So the thing about procrastination, identify the areas where it is doing you most harm. Those are the important areas in your life, and that's where you need to eliminate. And the way to eliminate is define clearly when you are going to get to those things, and as much as possible, let them be the first things you do every day. Get them out of the way. But there are some areas, like I said, where you can procrastinate and it doesn't cost you any. So if you are procrastinating going to the movies, for instance, nobody's going to die if you don't go. All right. But if there's stuff that is important to you that you need to do and you're procrastinating, that's where it's harming you. All right. And that's what you should focus on. And the way to cure, as Brian Tracy say, eat the frog. The way to cure procrastination is to just go ahead and do it. But the thing that I find with most people is that failure to plan. So something as simple as reading your Bible, it can be your Quran. It can be, I'll read it any time of the day. I'll read it in the morning. But when the morning comes, I'll read it in the afternoon. When the afternoon comes, I'll read it before I sleep. When the sleep time comes, sleep becomes involuntary, something that takes over you before you even decide you want to sleep. And that's with many things in life. Saving, keeping money aside, again, is one area where many people struggle. I will save at the end of the month. I will save next month. I will save after I finish all of my expenses. But nobody is ever saving money out of convenience. Saving, keeping money aside has always only happened in situations of adversity and difficulty. You are only going to be able to save money in a season of stress, difficulty, and this thing. You're never ever going to be able to save money in comfort. So most people, this in procrastination around saving money or keeping money aside is always when I finish paying my rent, when I finish paying school fees, when I finish doing everything, whatever is left, I will then save. But usually nothing will be left. But the people who are successful in saving is the people who say, when I get my money, whether it's 5%, whether it's 10%, whether it's 20%, I'm going to save that money, put it aside. And then everything else is going to be in that 80% or 90% or whatever is left. That's what I'm going to do. But of course, the money won't catch everything that you need to do. But then you will find out the first thing you have done is you have achieved your saving goal, which is your most important objective. And so anything that you are failing to do will be the things that are less important than that. But if you reverse the role where you want to spend everything that you want to spend and then save what is left, there will always be nothing left. So the thing to do is identify what is important to you and get it out of the way first. And then whatever time and whatever resources you have left, scramble it in everything else. Let the things that are less important to you suffer rather than the thing that is most important. I hope I've answered a bit.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Somebody is asking, what's the first point on good attributes of leaders? I'm sorry I missed that.
Okay, I said the first thing the leader is you must have people following you. And the fact that people are behind you doesn't mean they're following you. So and the fact that you are put in a position of authority doesn't mean the people that are reporting to you are following you. So that a leader must have people following them. And if you don't have followers, you are really not a leader. And the followership has to be something that is voluntary, not that something you bring or you secure by force or any other means of coercion.
Okay. Our past area leader here says not all resources are the same. Thank you, facilitator and GLT. That's from our PAL engineer knowledge. And he also is asking if he can make a contribution. I'm sure we can give him a little time to contribute. My PAL, sir. Hello, sir. PAL, you can unmute and speak, sir.
Well, thank you very much, the GLT and our facilitator. I have benefited tremendously from this presentation. I want to let you know that I will be making a personal request on you, the facilitator, to present this, presentation to the young members, the youth in my church. I will be asking a personal request of you when I get back. Please, I hope I will be obliged. Number two, you have stated that not all resources are the same. And we must consider those that have the time, those that have the energy, those that have the skills, those that have the experience, those that have the network, and those that have the money. My question to you is, sir, some people have all these other things, but they don't have the money. They used to have the money in the past, but somehow they don't have the money to contribute anymore. But they still have the time, they still have the energy. What do we do with such members? Are we to send them away, or are we to help them and sustain them in times of need? It's my question to you, sir. Please, I want you to answer this honestly, as honestly as you can, please. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, thank you very much, sir. And to your first request, you can Lion Chinyelu Samuel Johnson is my auntie, so she can. There's nothing she can ask of me that she can't get. So you just ask her when you need me. I would, if I'm around, I would gladly speak wherever you want. So to the second question. So the second question is, so I listed all those attributes, and all of us have all those things in different varying degrees. All right. And the thing that makes a group, if an association is filled with people who have money and there is no arm and leg, nobody who is going to go and do these things, then it will not be successful still. All right. And if an association is filled with energy and all of that, and there's no money, there's still no going anywhere. So the point of that is with every human being, these are the resources, some of the resources that are available to us. And all of us have them in different degrees. Some have some and none at all of the other. And some have bits of everything. As most of us, I think we all have bits. So everybody has some time, everybody has some energy, everybody has some network. Some networks are not, if your network is the Tedola, Dangote, and all of that, clearly it's not the same network as the network of somebody who clubs are, So we know there are different people. So the question around when people don't no longer what we do to our members who so I think that every association, what's the objective of the group? The objective of the group is to help. And it is not only money that will make us successful. So everybody has something to give. But the objective of the organization is focused on helping others, right? And that has to be the focus, that has to be the goal. But also we cannot be, close our eyes or be blind to the needs of the people who have over time supported us and participated in things that we have done. And so, if a member has a medical challenge, for instance, and the club is helping people who have medical needs, and there's no reason why that member can't participate and benefit from that thing that the club is already doing. So as long as people are willing, and again, like I said, I think the thing that frustrates most people, most groups, most collections of anything is where people have only shown an interest in something without commitment. And then they want to be drawing the most out of that association or group. That's where the problem comes. But where somebody has been committed, has participated over time, there will even be no discussion as to whether or not we should help that person. Automatically and instinctively, people are moved to helping those kind of people. But the problem always is somebody who is just on the periphery of the association, hasn't done much, hasn't contributed much, hasn't given much, and now wants to be drawing significantly more than they have. That tends to be the problem. But as for whether or not we should help our members, we should certainly help them. But we should keep in mind that the organization, the focus is to help people as much as possible. Outsiders, if we are spending most of our resources on ourselves, then we will not have the time to do that. But that doesn't mean that we will be completely blind, as I said, to the needs of our people. So for sure, if somebody has participated and contributed, if they are now in, like, I don't know how many people are familiar with the Bible, the story where, the people have been with Jesus and now it was evening. And the disciples were like, send them away, let them go. There's no food for us to give these people here. And Jesus was like, these people have been with us since they have stayed, they have listened, they have been here. Now, when it's time for eating, why would we send them away? Let's do something for them. So I think that's the heart of a humanitarian, is to always help people. And it doesn't matter whether those people are outside or our members. And if they're our members, they will even have earned more of our help than people who have not known. I hope I've answered you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Lion Joyce, but I can see your hand up. Please go ahead and speak. I'm sure we can still take your question.
Well, thank you.
Lion Joyce.
Thank you very much, facilitator. I had raised my hand much earlier, when you were talking about interest and commitment. And I think for me, what resonated most was the fact that, okay, once you get members or individuals to be interested, that's just a first step. And I think that's a good step. But then what we do as Lions to transform that interest to commitment is also very critical. And I believe that the welcoming or enabling environment that we do provide, to a very large extent can also help in transitioning from interest to commitment. And that's why we do have, quite a number of initiatives that seek to try to support us as clubs, to sustain that interest and indeed transform it to commitment. So it will be good for us to also reflect within our clubs, yeah, and even as individuals, how are we supporting in ensuring that members move from being interested to being committed? Because sometimes these things don't just happen. For some people, it's inborn, but for some people, there has to be some level of support, hand-holding, and encouragement, which I think perhaps we need to do more so that we're able to move a large chunk of those who are still within the borderline of commitment and of interest, to get them to be committed. Yeah. Thanks.
Okay, thank you so much. Just a few more comments. Thank you, sir. The analysis on success and defining the end result from the onset is really appreciated. God bless you. Urgent, important, delegate is also another comment from somebody else. Overall, sir, I have thoroughly enjoyed myself, and I'm sure that a lot of people on this call have also enjoyed themselves. We really appreciate the time you took to be with us, speak with us, share with us from your wealth of experience. May I please call on Lion Joyce to please give a vote of thanks on behalf of us.
Okay, I didn't see that coming. So, Mr. Agorobo, thank you very much. It has been a very insightful, enlightening, and very educative evening. Thank you for your very strong words, which I believe for most of us, we would carry forward to enable us be not just lions, but committed humanitarians that are seeking to ensure we maximize the opportunity to be impactful, especially in the light of the current economic situation within the country, which also brings to fore so many needs, that we try to, in our own little way, contribute in, alleviating. So thank you for your insights, and we do hope that when we knock on your door again, you would oblige us. And one final thing, I don't really know why you're not a lion, so by association, I do hope that very soon we would have you joining us, to further enrich our pride and enhance our service as well. Thank you so very much. And thank you to Dio for sharing you with us this evening. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you for the time we've had, and thank you for the effort that has taken everybody to come spend an hour just talking, learning from each other. That Dayo is a lion means that I'm a lion already, not by formal this thing, but yeah. So you already heard me, discuss some of your conversations and happenings. So in some way, I'm a member already, but yeah, through that, we do what we can do. But thank you, everybody. Thank you. I'm so grateful, and thank you, my auntie. Thank you for giving me the chance to come to speak, and yeah, thank you very much. I've thoroughly enjoyed it myself. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, and have a nice evening, everyone. I think
Thank
our
you.
GLT has dropped off.
Thank you so much. Good night.
Please, can we
Thanks.
hold on to take pictures, please, please, please? Can we turn on our cameras, please? Please, let's turn on our cameras.
don't know the dark. Can't take picture.
Should we smile?
If you can. If you can.
Thank you so much, Mary City. Have a good night, sir.
Thank you.
Okay. Good night, everybody.
Thank you, my beautiful DJ.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Good night.
everybody.
Thank you, everybody.
Franklin, how are you?
Bye-bye.
All right.
Hello, Lion Joyce.
Recording in progress.